Oh, sleigh doves that star-spangled banner wave. Oh, the land and the free and the home of the
Hello again and welcome to Chippewa Valley Cable's continuing coverage of girls varsity volleyball. I'm Brad Fetters, joined tonight by Brittany Packer. So we're excited to bring you this matchup between the Big Reds of Chippewa Valley and the Port Huron Big Reds. And Brittany, I think it's safe to say here tonight, the Big Reds will come out on top.
That's a pretty safe bet.
So Chippewa Valley, playing out of the MAC Blue, comes in with an overall record of 14-10, 4-1 in league play. Port Huron 15-11 overall, 5-2 within league play. So Chippewa tied currently in first place along with these Big Reds of Port Huron and Henry Ford II. Talking to head coach Chris Hall before the start of tonight's contest, he indicated to me his team's a little tired after their most recent matchup against Utica Ford. That one went 5 sets, a little bit of a come-from-behind victory for Chippewa Valley a couple nights ago. So it'll be Port Huron to serve things up. Mia Jacobs sends it along to the back row, received well. Outside hit, first point of the night belongs to Chippewa Valley. Mallory Cardinelli with the kill.
She really found an open spot there in the court. The Big Reds kind of left it wide open for the other Big Reds.
Chippewa Valley's first serve of the night. It'll be a free ball now for Chippewa Valley. Gabby Bile, the libero, steps up. Another outside hit by Cardinelli. Block up front, middle blocker, Olivia Kolka. She's a tri-captain for Chris Hull. And then Chippewa Valley Big Reds take a quick 2-0 lead. Brittany, you played volleyball, and that was your position, correct? Middle blocker?
Correct, it was. Oh.
And once again, Olivia Kolka right on cue from that middle blocker position. Essentially, what is her duty as a middle blocker?
Basically to make sure that the ball stays on the opposite side of the net. It's to be tall, stand strong, and keep the ball from coming back into play.
It's an early 3-0 lead for Chippewa Valley. Quick little dump shot by Port Huron. And right now, Chippewa Valley making it look easy.
Another wide open spot in the middle on Port Huron's side.
Port Huron in their red jerseys, Chippewa Valley clad in black with red numerals. And Achoka continuing to serve, a flat-footed standing serve. Tough play here for Port Huron. It'll be another free ball defensively for Chippewa Valley. Quick little dump shot and another good one for Olivia Kolka. Kolka just racking up the points right now.
Mia Jacobs tried to save that, but she just couldn't get it back up in the air for Port Huron.
And Derek Arena, the head coach of Port Huron, has to look up at the big board and see his team trailing by 5 and ask exactly what happened here in the early goings, as it is all Chippewa Valley. Almost surprised that Coach Arena hasn't taken a timeout.
His team's looking a little tired themselves there.
Chippewa Valley not looking like a team that played 5 sets only 2 nights ago. They look refreshed and energized. Received by Bile along the back row. They go with a little fake. Cross-court shot applied by Jarvie. Received well by Port Huron. Setting up an outside hit. It'll be Cardinelli. Gilbert sets it. They go to the outside this time. Big blast by Dunham. Nice job defensively by Chippewa Valley. Going down to her backside. Mia Jacobs kept that play alive. Point to Chippewa Valley once again.
Give Port Huron some credit there for being awake on that fake there.
Mia Jacobs making that tough play defensively for Port Huron, but Port Huron Big Reds out of sorts here in the early goings. See if they can get something set up here. Instead, it's a double block. Front line of Chippewa Valley flexing their muscles. And there's the timeout now for Port Huron. A quick 8-0 lead for Chippewa Valley. Wow, what a start for the Big Reds here on their home floor. So we mentioned those MAC Blue standings. Chippewa Valley 4-1, having played one fewer contest than Port Huron and Henry Ford II. Chippewa Valley taking care of Ford II in their last matchup. Port Huron 15-11 overall. Would love to come in and steal one on Chippewa Valley's home floor, but so far not looking like the spoilers here so far. Junior Chokai with the serve once again. Go to the outside, Chokai. Bile, dumped over, free ball for Port Huron. Can they take advantage? They will. First point of the night for Port Huron belongs to Julia Gilbert from the outside hitting spot.
This is a good attempt at a block from Jacqueline Jarvie there, but she just couldn't keep it from the air.
Gilbert, after scoring the first Port Huron point, will get the serve. Cardinelli from the right side offensively now. And we'll switch spots with Jarvie. So a little bit of a shift along the front line. A little fake there for Port Huron. Dug up well by the libero, Gabby Bile. And that ball falls to the floor. Second point of the night for Port Huron.
Gabby really wanted that ball. She did a good job keeping it up there for the Big Reds.
Bile receives it. Tough play for Chokai. This one's got to be sent over. They do so successfully. Free ball now for Port Huron. And that shot is sent wide and long by Harville. First substitution of the night. Bile checks out. Alyssa D'Angelo replaces her in the lineup. Tough play for Mia Jacobs of Port Huron. She was unsuccessful in her attempt at a set. Actually played it right into the net. 10th point of the night in this very first set for Chippewa Valley. They lead it 10-2. Big long serve. Played well by Lakota. Cardinelli, point. Lakota went down, tried to play it with one hand, came up empty, and Chippewa Valley just continues to roll. Set goes to the outside, really well blocked, high up and into the rafters. They'll play it momentarily, the ref will stop it. And we'll give the point to Chippewa Valley after the ball did touch the roof here. Rally scoring up to 25, best of 5 sets. A little bit too much steam that time for Olivia Kulka's serve as it sails over the end line, side out, point to Port Huron.
Definitely too much power behind that ball there.
So Delaney Lakota, the junior libero. Backline blast, a little bit too far off the right hand of Tesh. Back-to-back points for Port Huron. 12-4 the advantage for Chippewa Valley. Chokai with the set, little dump shot from Jarvie. Go right back to the outside, Harville. Bile with the bump. Whoa, my. An absolute rocket. They play it off the wall. That won't count. We're not playing wall ball.
Chippewa Big Reds really looking alive with all this power they have over there, but they're going to have to learn to control it if they want to keep their lead.
A little bit of a spirited celebration after each point. Now, Typically, who comes up with the celebrations?
It's a combination of the coaches and the players. I know it's really fun for the players to get out there and put together different cheers for their teammates.
A terrific back and forth volley here, longest of the night. Sprawling save there by Jacobs, just getting it over the top of the net. Little deep dump, little miscommunication that time between teammates. Lakota and Gilbert were both in the vicinity of that ball and both come up empty.
Jacobs really looking alive on that last volley there.
Cardinelli with the flat-footed serve. Now the flat-footed serve compared to a jump serve, is that just player preference?
Definitely, yeah. There is a little bit more power behind a jumping serve, but the flat-footed serve tends to be more easy and more controllable.
Nobody does the underhand serve anymore.
No, that's kind of frowned upon in varsity volleyball. Maybe in some middle school games, but definitely not at this level and definitely not with two teams that are this high in the standings.
That's a safe get it over serve. This time it'll be Fiedler. Line drive serve received by Cardinelli. Block up front by Port Huron. Keep the ball alive, set to the outside, blocked once again. Really nice play by Jarvie to keep that ball alive as well. They go to the right this time, double block. Tesh was in there for Chippewa Valley. Cross court shot. Set goes to the right this time and unable to get much on it as it goes into the net. Alyssa D'Angelo, the air.
Front line on both teams looking to get a hand on the ball that volley.
You and I made the comment prior to the start of tonight's contest that Port Huron does have a lot of size.
Definitely. There looks like a lot of height on their team.
Cardinelli handcuffed that time by the serve, an ace for Jordan Fiedler. Fiedler only a sophomore, so she will be featured in Derek Arena's lineup for at least 2 more years. Tough play. Chokai comes up empty, and all of a sudden, Port Huron going on a little bit of a mini run. They've actually outscored Chippewa Valley 8-6 since the timeout.
There's some of that tiredness coming out in Chippewa Big Reds now.
Cardinelli receives it. Go to the outside. That one was in, just on the line. Tesh went cross court with it and was able to tuck it in just barely, but enough to score the point.
I don't blame Port Huron for not going for that one. That one looks really close to the line.
15-8 your score, very first set. And too much power behind the Jarvie serve.
Yeah, no question with that one. That one was headed right out of bounds.
That was something Jacqueline Jarvie was featuring the other night. She really likes getting those serves all the way into the back row. Jarvie gonna set this time for Cardinelli. Spins along the tape and falls on the Chippewa Valley side for the Port Huron point. Their 9th of the night. They trail 15-9.
It's a good block there by Julia Gilbert.
Kind of get the sense Port Huron just kind of settling in to this first set. Cardinelli, big blast. Saving it all the way over by the scorer's table. Got to get it over. They do. Free ball now for Chippewa Valley. Tremendous dig. One hand soft shot. Set by the libero Lakota and into the net. Arceri.
Another really good back and forth volley going there for them, both teams.
Talking to Chippewa Valley head coach Chris Hull. Asked him what he expected out of Port Huron tonight, and he said they're a well-coached team. They're going to play well, and he anticipated another really close matchup.
Looks like Harville was going to try for that one and backed away last minute. Not quite sure what happened there.
Doesn't get any closer than the last matchup against Ford. They dropped the first set at 11-25 before roaring back, winning the next two, 27-25, 28-26. They dropped the fourth set, 20-25. So they went to the fifth set tiebreaker and took that 18-16. So
Parents
not only
having
did
to
they
look
go
alive.
5 sets, Brittany, but they also needed extras to decide that fifth set.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. It looks like they're taking on Utica again in their next matchup.
Yep, so the Ford Falcons looking for a little bit of revenge, perhaps, on their home floor. Oh, really nice block. Good heads-up play by Kulka. Port Huron player took a little bit of a spill as well. That was Gilbert that went down. She appears
Really
to be okay.
showing off that front line strength there.
And once again, Port Huron's going to want to talk things over here, trailing in this first set, 19-10. So we mentioned that matchup with Utica Ford. You can check out that game in its entirety online. The best place to do that is the Chippewa Valley Cable YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page to make sure you don't miss any of your Big Reds in action all season long. Chippewa Valley breaks their huddle. Already on the floor. Going to wait now for Port Huron. Some last second instructions from some of their senior leadership. A little bit of a tip at the net. Violation along the front line. Vile serves it to the back line. Quick little dump shot. Ella Jacobs commits the error.
She looked like she was ready to put a lot of power into that one, but just couldn't get the right height for that ball. Slammed it right into that net.
Number 8, Ella Jacobs, the junior, was one of the players we noticed during warm-ups. They absolutely had a rocket coming off that outside, and she's got to figure out a way to get that ball in, and the down official looks over at the flagger to indicate if she thought that was in or out, and they're going to say out. Out is the call. Perfectly placed serve this time. A couple Port Huron players come together, Jacobs and Fiedler.
A little bit of a lack of communication there. They need to be a little bit louder to their teammates so that that doesn't happen again.
How difficult is it to communicate on the floor?
It can be a challenge, especially if you're a more timid teammate and don't quite project your voice like that. I know there can be a lot of collisions if you're not paying attention to your teammates.
Now, is that something you can practice?
Yes and no. I mean, some players just can't protect their voices, and if they can't do that, they can't be heard by the others.
Soft serve received by Cardinelli. Middle hit.
Woo.
Way too much off the right hand of Kulka.
That one went right into the stands. Good thing parents were paying attention there.
And they're laughing about it now, but that was a big blast there for Kulka. Kristen Tesh into the game, wears 13 in black, and that's just called picking your spot.
She's seen it wide open, and she went for it. That was quite a good play.
So set point now for Kristen Tesh, and the Chippewa Valley Big Reds leads the team in aces. Go to the outside right spot, and in.
That was another hit that looked like it was right on that line there.
That's going to be a hopeless feeling watching that ball soar over your head and knowing it's probably going to fall inbounds, and in fact it did just that.
Especially being on your match point, that's a little tough.
Jacobs Received by Tesh. And that will do it for the first set. Chippewa Valley making it look easy. Final score 25-13. We'll take a quick break here on Chippewa Valley Cable. But when we come back, it'll be set number 2. Welcome back to the Valley at Chippewa Valley and Port Huron in a battle tonight in girls varsity volleyball. Brad Fetters alongside Brittany Packer. And Brittany, you noticed some changes on the Chippewa Valley side.
Yeah, it looks like Chippewa Valley changed out quite a few players, whereas it seems like the other Big Reds kept in a lot of their stars here.
Lena Haas, one of the changes in the lineup for Chris Hull to start this second set. Chokai with the short serve. Ooh, a little quick misdirection there by Port Huron.
It wasn't pretty, but that was a good save there.
Lakota. And Graham with the save along the back line. Outside hit. Lakota, the libero for Port Huron. Chokai with the set. It was a short set. What we got here, a little net violation. I think Mia Jacobs perhaps was the guilty party that time.
Both teams looking a little refreshed there. That short little temporary timeout between games there. Looks like they got some new power, new energy.
We talked about it throughout the first set. Chippewa Valley had a quick 8-0 run that really set them up for that first set victory. And not much you can do there to stop that Julia Gilbert shot. Gilbert, the senior outside hitter, with Port Huron's first point of the second set.
Port Huron's not going to go 9-0 this match.
Fiedler comes out, replaced in the lineup by Emma Higgins, junior middle hitter for Port Huron. Chokai with the set, goes right in the middle. They pick on Mia Jacobs that time. Nothing Jacobs could do to receive that shot.
And she had to go for it. She tried to save it, but there just was no control behind that ball.
An absolute missile offensively from Chippewa Valley. Go to the left side this time. A quick little slap by Dunham. And an underhand shove by Kulka. Cardinelli from the back row. Bumps it up. Kulka's shot rejected. And Port Huron with the point.
Port Huron's on their toes. They're making a lot of moves. They're not all necessarily pretty, but they're getting things done this match so far.
Kulka wanted an explanation from the up judge. Not sure if she got one. Port Huron swap a player. Harville comes into the game. Double block by Chippewa Valley again. And there's that block celebration.
Yep. Number 4 just wasn't ready for it to come back in her face there. There's nothing really she could do to prevent that from ending that way.
You can tell Chippewa Valley really works on those celebrations.
They got a lot of spirit and a lot of energy.
It's something you see in the game of volleyball more really than any other varsity sport.
Oh, definitely. Got to have a little bit of cheerleading experience to play in volleyball.
Speaking of cheerleaders, some members of the varsity football team are down along the baseline here in the gymnasium showing their support. They too have a choreographed celebration apparently. Haas to Chokai, just dumped in deep by Chippewa Valley. Pretty much a free ball here for Port Huron. The block goes out of bounds. Point to Port Huron. So Port Huron hanging around here in set number 2. Bringing Ella Jacobs off the bench. She wears 8 in red for head coach Derek Arena. Bile, the libero receives it. Cardinelli pushes it across. Dakota went outside to Dunham. Another really nice push shot by Lena Haas.
Good dive there by Julia Gilbert attempting to keep it in the air, but she just couldn't get it. both teams really utilizing the set maneuver on that volley.
Haas electing to serve from right in the middle. Goes deep with it. There you can hear some of that communication calling for that ball. Nice little tip shot. It's going to be a joust here. Terrific volley. Caught in between that time was Port Huron.
That shot looking a little questionable too. Weren't quite sure. Both teams looked like they didn't know what side of the net that one was going to land on.
Pretty much fell underneath the net. Short little serve. And once again, kind of no man's land along that net. Port Huron plays it this time. And Chippewa Valley, with too much force, sends it out of bounds. Wholesale changes now for Port Huron. 2 fresh players into the game, including Jordan Fiedler. Sophomore will serve. Bounces the ball 3 or 4 times, spins it in her left hand before serving it with her right.
It is important to have a routine there. It keeps things, you keep things the same. That way you make the same maneuver every time and hope it's successful.
You often see that with basketball players when it comes to free throw time. And
absolutely. It's pretty much the same idea there.
Consistency, a routine.
And hopefully a successful outcome every time.
And that time it was just that for Port Huron as they inch closer. Now trail just 6-5 in this second set.
There's that same pre-serve maneuver.
Takes a couple steps and sends it away. Tipped at the net, but unable to play it was Port Huron. Side out. Point to Chippewa Valley. Talk about Tesh leading the team in aces. She has it now. Big swing there and a point for Port Huron. That was Ella Jacobs. Like to see a little bit more out of her here for Port Huron.
That was definitely a good display of that power we were talking about before the game here.
Paige Zelke, junior for Port Huron, wears 13. Tough play along the net, and Haas comes up empty. Just like that, Port Huron has tied the score 7 apiece.
Not going to let Chippewa Valley get away with this one easy.
Cardinelli with the error. Maybe jumped a little premature there. And Chippewa Valley wants a timeout. They look to stop the Port Huron momentum as the Big Reds of Port Huron have captured the lead, the first lead of the night for Port Huron here in the second set, 8-7. Couple big tournaments coming up for some of the teams in the MAC. Croswell-Lexington Power League tournament will take place this weekend, as well as the Beast of the East tournament. Grosse Pointe South, Romeo, Eisenhower, and L'Anse Creuse North will all play in that Beast of the East tournament. Free ball now for Port Huron. And they're gonna go to Jacobs, swings it and just absolutely killed it.
Yep, there's that power again. She's definitely showing that she knows how to spike that ball.
Ella Jacobs relatively quiet in that first set, really has flexed her muscles in this second set. See if they go to her again, they do. Nice block, and what do we got here? Oh, Jacobs can't believe it.
Little fire there from Port Huron, wondering what they did to lose the ball.
She looked over at her bench and threw out her arms, and then looked up at the up judge as well. Terrific save by Haas. And taking out Chris Hull's camera, Ella Jacobs. So we know she's got an absolute rocket, but it's kind of harnessing some of that power.
Absolutely. She needed to control that one a little bit better.
So it's finding that happy median. And a little finesse game out of Chippewa Valley. And now some power.
Chippewa needed that one.
This has been a much more back and forth second set. Neither team able to edge out in front. Another block, and then a quick shot. That one would more than likely have gone out, but it was saved by Fiedler. Fiedler going after it there. That was an impossible play for the young setter.
That's another one that just ended up in the net, and there's nothing you can do when it enters that territory.
So not only did she have to play that ball, but she had to avoid crashing into the net as well. They go to the outside, and Paige Zelke unable to get much on that shot. So a terrific timeout by Chris Hull, as Chippewa Valley has really kind of changed the momentum here in the second set. You've been in those huddles before. What type of discussion takes place in a volleyball huddle during a timeout?
It's hard to talk strategy in volleyball. You know, there's not like set plays that you have. You can never really predict that ball. So it's most about just upping your energy, pumping up your teammates, asking for communication, and making sure that you're keeping your eye on that ball.
And there's some of that communication by Chippewa Valley. Chokai calling for it. Gonna go into the middle. Oh, Ella Jacobs switched it up. She didn't use the power move this time. She used the touch shot, and it worked.
Port Huron knowing they can rely on Jacobs this match. They're utilizing her a lot. It seems like they've set her up almost 3 times for every 4 plays.
And it's unique that the attack comes from the middle, is it not?
In some situations, yes. If you know that there's a gap there and there's a weakness on the other team in that area, you can use it to your advantage.
So Emerson Groff comes in for the serve, unable to get it over the net. She'll be replaced. 14-10, Chippewa Valley out in front. Chokai, received by Arceri. Chokai goes after it. And that was what we saw a lot in the first set. Chippewa Valley picking a spot where Port Huron had vacated and taking advantage of that.
Big flaw on Port Huron's part there. There should not have been a big open space in that backcourt.
Now that's more than likely just the defender kind of losing their spot on the floor.
That's correct. You know, she should have been a few steps back. Had she been where she should have been, that probably would not have happened to Port Huron.
Probably an instance where you're kind of watching the ball and begin to kind of wander, right?
Paying attention to the ball can be a downfall sometimes in situations like that. You're not paying attention to where you're at. You're watching the ball.
Cardinelli, kind of a cross-body slap. And good point there for Zelke.
Notice both teams have definitely upped their communication since that crash we've seen with Port Huron earlier.
And Port Huron refusing to go away, refusing to allow Chippewa Valley to pull away. Lead down to 3, 15-12. Chippewa Valley out in front. Mia Jacobs sends this one in deep. Sent over by Kolka. Zelke again. Ooh, really nice play. Zelke, touch shot this time. Haas, cross court. Jacobs from the back row, gonna have to get back. And there you go. So Jacobs came up to play it and didn't quite get back far enough, and Chippewa Valley, good heads up play.
Yeah, Jacobs had a good hand on that, but that was a shot that was hard to control.
She was sort of backpedaling. To get a service error by Cardinelli. Port Huron bringing in some more size as it's Harville and Gilbert into the game. Gilbert will have the serve. Flat-footed serve.
Good eye from Port Huron there. Another close call.
Gilbert, senior outside hitter, wasting no time. Gonna go to the left side this time. And check that, Tesh. Tesh just picked a spot. I feel like Port Huron probably thought it was gonna go to the other side.
Yeah, that's a good show of display that you don't always need that power to make successful plays when you're up front there.
A little change of pace. Kalka with the bump. Rejection by Port Huron, but once again, Port Huron a little flat-footed defensively.
Yeah, Higgins had that good save there, but it looks like her teammates just were a little too spent on hoping that it would stay on Chippewa's side a little longer than it did.
Back row attack, Lakota from her libero position.
Looked like it would have been a good play, but it just didn't get over that net.
Maybe some of our casual viewers not quite sure what the libero position means. She has to stay in the back row, not allowed to be involved in any of the blocking.
Her primary job is to be the one that sets up the ball for the front to either spike it or push it over the other side of the net.
I guess your best comparison might be to a point guard in basketball who's kind of distributing the basketball, wants to pass it around, or maybe even a quarterback, right? Kind of the man or woman in charge on the field.
They're the ones that set up the play for the other ones to make points. They're also the ones that should have the most voice in things, calling out, making sure that the other players know where that ball is.
It's kind of your vocal leader, huh?
Absolutely.
Both teams broke their huddles. It'll be the Chippewa Valley Big Reds with the serve. They have the lead, 19-14, set number 2. So glad you decided to tune us in. Chippewa Valley Cable, Brad Fetters alongside my broadcast partner tonight, Brittany Packer, high atop the gymnasium here at Chippewa Valley. This is quickly becoming my home away from home, as this is 3 straight Chippewa Valley broadcasts. Had a Dakota volleyball broadcast earlier on in the season, top 5 team over at Dakota.
We've seen a few more serving errors this set than we did the first set. I don't know if that's a sign of them getting tired or...
Yeah, good point. Fatigue might start to set in, and right on cue, another short serve by Lena Haas. Probably a lot of truth to the fact that as this game wears on, you will not see quite as much power or lift, especially out of the legs. Haas to Cardinelli. D'Angelo, dangerous looking play there.
Yeah, Chippewa definitely got a hand on that one. I don't know if that made that play harder for them or...
And the block up front kind of caused that ball to spin off to the side, and I think you're right. It became a much more difficult play. Gymnasium grows quiet. Haas to the right side, too much. Port Huron within striking distance. Fiedler, received by Cardinelli. Haas right in the middle of the offensive formation. Dakota sends it over. And a quick, good idea. but over the sideline.
Definitely the right idea on that play. Just couldn't execute it the way she'd hoped.
And it's kind of Lena Haas's secret weapon. She loves to go cross court with those shots. Just couldn't tuck it in. D'Angelo. Fisted over by Harville. Little touch shot off the fingertips of Tesh.
There's more of that signature celebration from Chippewa there.
After the point, Tesh earns the serve. A couple big steps before sending over a really heavy serve. D'Angelo, realizing that was the third hit and having to get that one over, kind of vacated her spot after hitting it. It didn't matter.
Definitely a disheartening situation having to watch the ball fall knowing there's nothing you can do.
And D'Angelo makes up for it this time with the kill. Big swinging spike. 22-20, Chippewa Valley electing to use a substitution. D'Angelo checks out. Olivia Kulka back into the game. Gabby Bile, the libero, to serve things away. Return to sender.
Jacobs just couldn't utilize the power there. Chippewa was on top and ready for her there.
Big rejection along that front line.
Chippewa was ready for that one too, but that didn't go out in their favor this time.
Gilbert from that outside spot. Emma Higgins, a middle hitter, checking in for Port Huron. Emerson Groff, senior, to serve. Low line driving serve. Look up at the big board, and Port Huron trails by just one, and Chippewa Valley is going to call a timeout. So we talked about it in our last broadcast, but a very difficult district bracket for Chippewa Valley looms. All their games will be played over at Lakeshore, as they will take on the host team Lakeshore in the opening round of the district playoffs. The winner of that game will take on Mac Redfo Lance Cruz North. On the opposite side of the bracket is Anchor Bay, as well as Harrison Township Lance Cruz and Dakota. So 3 MAC Red teams in Chippewa's district. I mentioned to Chris Hull prior to the start of tonight's contest, I said, man, what a tough bracket you got in district play. And he laughed and he said, yeah, how about that? 3 MAC Red schools, and that's going to be an absolute brutal draw for Chippewa Valley. Chokai sends one in deep. Lakota receives it. Good heads-up play by Chippewa. Good concentration. Set point here for Chippewa Valley.
Boy, Huron not letting it go easy.
Chokai. One-handed save by Fiedler.
Both teams really fighting to keep that play alive.
Chippewa Valley converged and came up empty.
Went from an easy set to quite a nail-biter here.
A real contrast between our first 2 sets. Took a while for Port Huron to warm up. Much more determined team here in set number 2. Mia Jacobs right to the center of the defensive setup for Chippewa Valley. Cardinelli's just going to shove one over. Lakota there. And that one's in.
Tough situation here.
So we're going to need extras. Got to win by 2. Something Chippewa Valley's grown accustomed to. Bile, choke eye. A little bit of an in-between ball there off the hand of Kalka. More than likely would have stayed in. Set point for Chippewa Valley, and they get it. They take set number 2, 26-24. It'll set up the intermission. Take another quick break here on Chippewa Valley Cable. But when we come back, the Chippewa Valley Big Reds will look for a straight set win. It'll be set number 3 on our airwaves coming up next. Nearly set to go. Set number 3 here from Chippewa Valley High School. Big Reds taking on Port Huron girls varsity volleyball. Chippewa Valley taking the first 2 sets, 25-13, 26-24. Much better performance in set number 2, however, by Port Huron.
Absolutely. They definitely looked like they had more energy, more communication, more teamwork in that second set compared to the first one.
So we'll look for some of that momentum to carry over into set number 3. And Port Huron, a big hill to climb here. Essentially have to win the next 3 sets in order to come up victors on Chippewa Valley's home floor. It'll be Mia Jacobs to serve things away to start set number 3. Cardinelli there to receive it. And a big blast. Tavy, haven't called her name at all tonight. Jillian Tavy.
You could tell Jacobs knew what happened the second it hit her hand. Just that look of, oh no, the minute she realized what had happened.
Jarvie with one of those patented long serves. Bile. Tavy once again dug up by Lakota. Free ball now for Chippewa Valley. And jousting and point to Port Huron. Net violation the call. Head football coach Scott Merchant in the building tonight to show his support. Big Red's got a big football game tomorrow night. A little MAC crossover action. MAC red-white matchup with Utica. Chieftains clinging to a playoff spot.
Lakota trying to make things happen there for Port Huron, but just couldn't make a play out of that rocket.
Chippewa Valley with the slight edge here, 2-1, set number 3. Brad Fetters alongside Brittany Packer. I think Port Huron wanted 4 hits there.
It looked like they were trying for it, hoping for it anyway.
Really nice dig by Gilbert. Unfortunately for her, it was a little too low for any of her teammates to play it. Kalka spins it before sending it. Too deep. So after the service error, Kalka checks out, replaced by Bile. Lakota really takes her time with the serves. Oh, that was a good heads-up play by Jarvie, thinking she could catch Port Huron off guard, going on 1 hit that time, but unfortunately for her, the over-the-head backward shot didn't quite fall in. It's Tavy. Called her name a couple times here in this set.
That was another good example of how getting your hand on the ball at the block there can actually be a downfall for your teammates if they're not looking alive.
So Tavy scores a point, and she's rewarded with a trip to the bench. She's replaced by Kalina Barth. Oh, I didn't see anything there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there either.
Maybe a foot on the line on the serve, perhaps?
Possible.
4-4 your score. What a battle. Finally won by Chippewa Valley.
Really, really nice dig from Bile on that one.
Arguably our best volley of the night. Neither team wanting to give in there.
A lot of fight for sure.
Haas, the lefty. Blocked once again. Front line for Chippewa Valley is dug in well. And another net violation, this time against Port Huron.
This net's really causing a lot of trouble in this matchup. Thinking there's blood on the ball there. I think there's a little bit of a confusion.
And seemed to be what the indication was from the scorer's bench. I too heard the word blood. Head coach Chris Hull looked at it and sent the ball back into play. Ooh, a little change of pace. Cardinelli unable to play it cleanly.
She had a little bit of a lack of control there. It looked like it had bounced off her right arm a little bit more than anything and kind of took off like a rocket out of bounds there.
6-5, Chippewa Valley in front. Rebecca Harville. And in, oh boy. And Port here, oh!
A little close to call there. Flag girl looks like she's being slightly under attack there.
And the head coach, Derek Arena, right there. And he's going to win his case as he has the call overturned. Member of the JV team operating as the flagger.
She's looking a little embarrassed by that one.
Well, it's a tough spot to put her in when all the eyes in the gymnasium immediately go to her for the call, including the opposing head coach.
It's
who
a
is
lot of
literally,
pressure.
yeah, about 4 feet away from her. And point for Gilbert. And Port Huron.
Another instance where getting your fingers on the ball there just doesn't make the right play.
So the Big Reds of Port Huron capture the lead, 8-6. We talked about Chippewa Valley's district playoff. This Port Huron team will go down the road to Rochester Hills Stony Creek, and they will take on a MAC Red opponent in Eisenhower in the first round. Eisenhower right in the middle of the MAC Red standings. And waiting for the winner of that matchup will be the Bulldogs of Romeo, who are currently in last place in the MAC Red. The other half of that bracket includes the Port Huron rivals, Port Huron Northern, Rochester Hills Stony Creek, and Rochester. So potential there for a couple rivalry matchups. You played volleyball at New Haven. Who was New Haven's big rival?
New Haven usually had quite a big matchup against Mount Clemens.
Okay.
I believe it was Fitzgerald who we had our only loss to my freshman season.
I always thought it was interesting that both Port Huron schools played in the Macomb Area Conference, as does St. Clair and Marysville. A little bit of a hike down 94.
It's always quite a drive having to go to schools that are quite that distance. It's hard to keep your focus when you have such a long bus ride.
Yeah, always a fun bus ride home, though, if you win.
Not so fun if you lose.
Exactly. Big, powerful blast. Chippewa Valley tied it back up, 9-9.
Fiedler getting low to try to save that one, but couldn't make the play.
Cardinelli. Call is out.
A couple of the players on Chippewa looked like they weren't sure about that call, looking up to the high ref for that one.
A sly little smile from Cardinelli when she realized that the ball was indeed out. Definitely the definition of a 50-50 ball. Big swing and a bigger rejection up front. Kalka and Tavy.
That block definitely worthy of a celebration.
Tavy playing much taller than her size there to go up and get that one. Dump shot to perfection, our Siri. Port Huron bringing a few subs in. Not a lot of stoppages in play, neither team utilizing their timeouts. It's really kept play moving here tonight.
A little bit of floor cleanup from number 8 there, having to go dig for that one.
Call that housekeeping. Mia Jacobs. Kalka, one of the tri-captains. Supplying the energy, supplying the scoring here tonight for Chippewa Valley. Right antenna blast by Julia Gilbert. Give Port Huron credit. They're not willing to go away easily.
Yeah, they're definitely fighting for 5.
Let off the tape, it counts.
A little bit of a low energy cheer on that one from the bench.
The coolest thing from Chippewa Valley is the fact that so many different players tonight are scoring points. Getting production out of everybody. Tavy's been a force in this third set.
Yeah, she's definitely picked it up. Definitely, she's been kind of quiet the first 2 sets. It's good to see her getting some action, making some plays.
Ace for Kalka.
It was a good serve. She had it right tight to the net. I don't think Port Huron was sure what to do with that one.
More of a line driving serve that, as you mentioned, barely made it over the net. This time switches it up and Gets back-to-back aces, went with the high arcing serve that time. And Port Huron's going to want a timeout to talk things over. They get the sense that this one's slipping away. They need points in a hurry if they want to come back. Well, you talked about that matchup with Utica Ford looming for Chippewa Valley. That one will take place next week. And then a little bit of a break in the action for Chippewa Valley before finishing up their home portion of the schedule against Warren Woods Tower before finishing the year on the road against Mac Blue foe St. Clair Shores Lakeview. That too is a rematch. Chippewa Valley taking care of Lakeview last week, in fact. They took care of them in 4 sets. As for Port Huron, they'll alternate road matches with home matches. They'll take on Warren Woods Tower, Lance Cruz, aforementioned St. Clair, before finishing the year with Eisenhower, and that will be their first round district game. So November will begin with districts, and for Port Huron, that means Eisenhower. Insane levels of concentration there for both teams. Couple net plays for Chippewa Valley. Lakota. Cardinelli pushes it across. Rejection sent out.
Chippewa really getting off their feet for that one. Good save.
Kayla Dunham making sure the up official knew that ball was last touched by Chippewa Valley. Free ball coming up for Port Huron. Dunham sends it across. Set by Haas. Big swing by Tesh is rejected. Dunham. Haas. And there is the big swing in the right hand by Ella Jacobs. I haven't really called her name, and I'm surprised. We haven't called her name much in this contest.
She was showing some rockets in that second set. It's good to see her showing her power once again.
16-14 the lead for Chippewa Valley. Dunham. Tesh puts it into the net. Port Huron within a point now. 16-15 your score.
Another strong play from Ella Jacobs, this time defensively.
Chippewa Valley head coach Chris Hull electing to let them play. Bumped by Lakota. Arvel sent back. Cardinelli from the back row, too much.
Well, Huron looks like they're gaining momentum again. They're getting more energy, and they're showing excitement in their plays more than they have been at the start of this set.
So this has a very similar feel to the second set, which Chippewa Valley built a lead and watched it evaporate. Have to get it over. They do. Free ball now for Port Huron. Dunham. Dunham really supplying a lot of offense for Port Huron in this third set.
She found a good opening on Chippewa's side. She really went for it. A lot of power behind that ball for sure.
Chippewa Valley electing not to take a timeout. What a save, wow.
It wasn't pretty, but it got it done in the right ways.
Ends the call, Ella Jacobs. Port Huron, 7 points away from claiming this third set. Another free ball for Port Huron. They can't take advantage in Chippewa Valley. So back-to-back free balls for Chippewa Valley. Little push shot by Tesh. And Tavy unable to tuck it in.
Another really good volley for both teams there. A lot of good plays, a lot of strong maneuvers.
And now Chippewa Valley will finally call that timeout.
They got to talk strategy. I think this is the most they've been down. Granted, it's only 3, but it seems like the most they've been down this entire matchup so far.
Big scoring streak out of Port Huron. It's been Kayla Dunham, the senior, leading the charge, number 15 in red, and she too is one of those vocal leaders inside that huddle right now, as head coach Derek Arena is kind of taking a step back and allowed his players to talk things out. Jordan Fiedler, the sophomore, also directing traffic in that huddle. I'd like to see that out of an underclassman.
Couple defeated looks over in the Chippewa huddle. Hopefully they're talking some game and can get something good out of it.
Yeah, Chris Hull, head coach of Chippewa Valley, electing to take all 60 seconds of that timeout, and finally the Big Reds will break their huddle. 19-16, Port Huron in front. They dropped the first 2 sets, looking to avoid a straight set defeat here tonight. Oh, what a beautiful play for Chippewa Valley.
That's a really nice fake. She looks like she was going to go for all power and ended up with that light pushover. It landed right where she needed it to go.
Very tricky. Barth. The outside, Cardinelli.
If it works, why not do it again?
Finding a soft spot in that Port Huron defense. Chippewa Valley inching closer. Ooh, tough set. Well played by Harville.
Some excitement from Port Huron after that play.
Deservingly so. They're within 5 points now. They lead it 20-18. Haas, that patented cross-court shot. That's her MO, her trademark play.
She really knows how to control it, too.
She's rewarded with the serve. Her team trailing by 1, 20-19, and Lainey Lakota might have something in her eye, perhaps. She's rubbing her right eye, still rubbing it.
I think Chippewa was expecting a swing there and got a light hit.
Boy, Port Huron really out of position. They do a nice job getting back. Nothing they could do there. Knotted up at 20 apiece. You can really tell Lakota's eye is really bothering her. I don't know if it's a sweat in the eye, a contact lens or something, but that right eye of hers is really bothering her. Miscue on the serve by Haas.
It's definitely doing something. Hopefully it doesn't affect her game too much.
I'm surprised she's staying in. Boy, oh boy. The game's difficult enough, let alone to play with just one eye. Cardinelli.
The eye issue didn't hurt Lakota too much there. She's still got a good hand on it in that play.
This might be an instance where Chippewa Valley wants to pick on her, make sure she receives a serve. And they do just that. Kalka.
Both want to
Net
argue
violation.
that.
Yep. Kalka a little bit too out of control as she goes crashing into the net. One of the easier calls the officials have had to make tonight. And I think it is a contact issue. And that's one good thing is the fact that she is a libero, so she can substitute in and out freely. 22 all. Ooh, tough bump. Gilbert put it right into the net.
Put Fiedler in a bit of a tough situation there. Wasn't so sure how to answer that one.
Kind of a do or die type ball. And going on Gilbert again. It was like an instant replay.
That was pretty much exactly the same play.
A real heavy serve that Gilbert wasn't able to get bumped correctly, and both times she put it a little bit too far for her front line, too close to the net. Back-to-back points for Chippewa Valley, and they are now in game point. So matchup on paper, it appeared to be pretty even in terms of the MAC Blue standings. An opportunity for Chippewa Valley to kind of put a stranglehold on the MAC Blue.
They're putting up a big fight on their home turf, trying to clinch that top spot there.
Yeah, they will be in the driver's seat if they do come away victors here tonight. Free ball for Chippewa Valley. They take advantage of it and come up with the winners. Straight set victory for Chippewa Valley here on their home floor. Final scores 25-13, 26-24, 25-22. Brittany, your final thoughts here tonight. Really an impressive showing by Chippewa Valley.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Port Huron didn't let them go. You know, they kind of let loose on that first set there, but these second two sets, they really put up a lot of fight. But Chippewa, they have a strong defense, and then a couple girls that they know how to play the court. So I could definitely see them being some big contenders once we get to bracket play.
3 straight home games, 3 straight victories for Chippewa Valley. They'll take that winning streak on the road to take on Utica Ford in their next contest. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my broadcast partner, Brittany Packer, and the rest of our hardworking Chippewa Valley crew. I'm Brad Fetter saying one final goodbye from the Valley as Chippewa Valley comes out on top of Port Huron. Your final scores 25-13, 26-24, 25-22. Thank you so much for watching this Chippewa Valley Cable Television production. We'll see you next time.